More than 2 million pieces of litter are dropped every single day in the United Kingdom, as more than 2/3 of Brits say littering causes harm to their local area. But what should you do if you catch someone in the act? Do you confront them? Maybe you politely ask someone, is this yours? Let me just give that back to you. Maybe you've got a bit more heated than that. Let's start with Jeremy on this one. Do you confront?
No, you say people like what I say, they're not going to like this.
Oh, no.
No, I don't.
Oh.
Do you know why? Because you've got to pick your battles in life. And there has been the odd occasion where I have made a mistake. I'm talking about on the train. I remember I left an empty can down the side because I had my book here, and I got up and someone took the time to follow me down the platform, and the carriage, and go, excuse me, you forgot something. And I rushed back, and they went there, and the smug look on their face, where they could have just simply picked the can up and put it in the bin. Do I pick things up after other people? Yes, I do. The only time I've ever had a go at anyone was a group of lads or young, when they literally had been drinking in the park and they just left a load, and I said, come on guys, that's not cool, tidy it away. But if it's the odd thing here or there, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and I just think life is too short to go around policing people and wagging your finger just so you can be all smug and walk off going, there you go, you forgot that. Oh, did you mean to leave that there? Knowing full well that you didn't. If somebody threw something out the window, that's a different, but you know, people make mistakes.
They throw it out the window, you catch it and throw it right back in at the window. Sarah Jane, how about you? Have you ever tackled anyone?
I have, yeah, this really riles me. If it's a mistake, it's different though, but when you see someone purposely littering or leaving rubbish for somebody else to deal with, I think it's the laziest thing in the world. It's so easy to take your rubbish with you, to put it in your pocket, to put it in your bag if there's no bin nearby. It's your responsibility to clear that up and take it home. And I have picked up people about this, you know, if I've seen children or kids, like teenagers coming home from college, dropping things, and I will politely say, oh, excuse me, I think you dropped something, rather than make it confrontational. But saying that, if it was somewhere like the underground and somebody left something, I probably wouldn't. So again, going back to your pick your battles, as a woman on her own, I probably wouldn't in that situation go, oh, by the way, I think you just left something, because you just don't know what trouble that's going to cause.
I feel as if, Sam, you're a have-a-go-hero.
How did you guess?
You're going to be running down the motorway holding an old bit of orange peel.
Did you guess? Any bit of orange peel. I think I might have been that person. It's entirely conceivable that I was the one that saw him leave that Coke can, other brands are available, on the tube, our communal area where all of us have to sit, which might spill and go on my kind of like, you know, cheap trousers, whatever it was. I would 100% on the tube pick that can up and go to you. I think you've forgotten something, mate, with a hint of menace, or chase down the carriage after you. So if it were me, I'm not apologising. I just think that take your rubbish with you.
I'm not saying that littering is good, or dropping litter, is good. But I'm saying that, you know, people have got to just get on with life and mind their own business. And there are, you know, to a certain extent, I don't understand whatever that is the job for people.
Right, let's go to the phones, because you know, very, very expectedly, phones have really lit up about this when everyone wants to talk about it. So Darren in Cornwall, you get stuck in with this one, don't you?
Cornwall, you have to.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with Jeremy. I think you have got to choose your battles. I mean, I'm actually living in St Ives, which is incredibly busy. And I've just said to the researcher that I think when people are on holiday, their own kind of value system seems to go out the window a little bit. So the thing that triggers me is when they're about 5 feet from the bin. So I don't go around sort of being a policeman over it, but I think when you certainly see somebody that's literally within a couple of arms lengths of a bin, that's when I probably would. And I wouldn't sort of get aggressive. I think you also have to choose the way you approach people, because you don't want to go in there like some authoritarian. So yeah, it just, you know, when people are very close to a bin, and to be fair, the seagulls do quite a lot to help, but that's just
but the ridiculous thing, Darren, of course, is that St Ives is so beautiful. That's why people go there. They go there to bask in that beauty and to take in and drink in, you know, the exquisite, you know, environment, and then they leave their litter all over the place. It doesn't make any sense. And I think it's very interesting, Darren's thesis, that people behave differently on holiday.
I think that's true.
And also behave differently at parties. You know, if you went to someone's house for a cup of tea, you wouldn't behave in the way people behave at parties. They obviously kind of unleash their inner litterbug on holiday, which is really horrible, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, don't do that. Don't go to St Ives and make it a right mess. That's not nice. That's not good behaviour. Let's go to John in Dorset. What about you, John?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone on that panel. It's not a good idea to approach anyone that throws litter around out there. I can remember maybe 10 years ago, there was a car that had they were in McDonald's. They got in the car. They had all the food in the car. After they finished eating, they threw their rubbish out the window. Oh. Now, like the gentleman on your panel said, there were 2 bins there. Anyway, this man got out with a claw hammer.
What?
And claw hammer.
Wow.
And he was Irish. I should imagine they all were.
I don't think that comment becomes you, John. That's not a nice or appropriate thing to say. How could you possibly know that? What difference would that make? So I think we may move on from that call, John. Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Mark in London. Hi, Mark. Tell me about telling people off for not using the bin.
Well, I mean, I've spoken to you before, Vanessa, and I live in Pimlico, and at the end of every junction, there are big black bins that are for public use. And what annoys me the most is when I go out in the morning to go shopping, and you walk towards a junction, and there's litter like 5 yards from the bin, whether it be takeaway boxes or sweet wrappers, and you're just like, the person that's dropped that couldn't be bothered to walk 5 yards more and put it actually in the bin right in front of them.
Tut. But what do you put that down to? Do you put that down to selfishness?
Pure laziness and disrespect for the neighbourhood. Yeah. And, if I don't confront people, but if I do see somebody do that, all I do is I look at them and point at what they've dropped and go, really? And then I walk off. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to make a difference, but maybe it might put a little thought in their mind. I think he's talking about the stuff I just dropped.
Okay, we're not going to offend anyone. We're not going to say anything rude or swear because people really don't like that. So I do apologise. I know Mark didn't do that on purpose. Lots of love, Mark. Thank you. Let's talk to Adrian in London, who is a litter picker. That means you consider it your own responsibility to pick up other people's rubbish, Adrian.
I do. I haven't spoken to you for a long time since you were on the radio.
You used to call me on Radio London all those years ago.
Yes, right.
This is Adrian. I've never actually met him, but he's a fascinating gentleman. He cycles everywhere. He's a very interesting man. Tell me what you do about litter picking, Adrian.
I'm a litter picker, and I challenge people who drop litter.
And what do they say when you challenge them?
Most ignore me. Some say it's none of my business. Very few actually pick it up, so I pick it up and put it in the bin.
See, he's a thoroughly nice person. Adrian, let me ask you something. Has it got worse over the years?
It has got worse. The trouble is, if it's fashionable, the idiots copy each other. So it just gets worse all the time.
And also, there's much more stuff to throw away, isn't there, with all the takeaway wrappers and all the kind of eating on the hoof and all the sorts of things that used not to happen as much. Adrian, are you still... remind me, don't you boil a kettle and fill thermos flasks full of hot water and use them throughout the day? You used to tell me about that, didn't you?
You're right. What a wonderful memory you've got, Vanessa.
Are you still doing it, though?
Yeah, I use my solid fuel stove.
Amazing.
Very interesting person, very interesting. And you used to tell me how little money it takes you to survive a week of life, Adrian. You spend almost nothing, don't you?
Yes, my food bill is between £10 and £15 a week.
What?
Wow. Just explain what... I knew they'd be fascinated as soon as we got into it. What do you live on then? What do you eat? I think you're vegetarian, is that right?
Being a vegetable, being a vegan... I live on fruit and vegetables, and I grow my own organic food in my back garden, so it's less than £10 to £15 a week during the summer.
That's incredible.
£10 to £15 a week, cycles everywhere, picks up other people's litter,
I love
and
it.
as usual, sounds full of beans and thoroughly happy and having literally full of beans because he eats beans, but also very lively and jolly. And Adrian, I know this is a very personal question. Please forgive me. How old are you?
I tell people I'm just turned 28, so I'm 82.
And are you still in fine fettle?
I'm full of vegan energy. Absolutely, I've got too much energy.
Can't believe you found me on the television after all those years talking to me on the radio. It's so nice to have you on, Adrian. I'm going to blow you a kiss, especially. This is for you. Lots of love. Thank you for ringing. Gosh, I remember him, of course, so clearly. Isn't it funny when you feel you've got a relationship with someone you've never actually met? But I really do know quite a lot of stuff about him. Let's go to Miriam in Northamptonshire. Hello, Miriam.
Hello, good morning, Vanessa.
Would you confront somebody throwing litter?
Yes, I have done. I live in a village, and I was taking my grandchildren to school one morning because Mummy was worked, and we brought them up while she was at school. She was working. Yeah. Anyway, a lady in a big Range Rover, all dressed up to go horse riding, stood in the high street and emptied her pockets out, literally on the ground. Ooh. And I just looked at her and I said, "Excuse me, I think you've dropped something." So she just looked at me with, discreetly and just walked off. And I said to her, "I hope you don't you haven't brought your children up to do with this because when you were talking about before about parenting, this is when I was one of 6 children. We was not allowed to take litter and throw it on the floor. We had to take it home. That's how we was brought up. But the generation today are not like that. They couldn't care less. And I brought my grandchildren up. They wouldn't dream of dropping anything on the floor or throwing on the floor. They knew when Granny and Grandad took them out, they brought their rubbish home with them. And this is the trouble with today's society. There's no parenting anymore. People don't care anymore. They just think, there's somebody gets paid for doing that.
But Miriam, it's interesting that you say that because you would think that this generation, I mean, the very young people, they're obsessed with the environment. They're obsessed, aren't they, with ecology and air miles and keeping the air clean. So you would think they would be the cleanest and least littering generation that's ever existed, not the opposite, wouldn't you?
No, it's disgraceful. And to be quite honest, getting back to what you said, I'm sorry to have to say this, Vanessa, but it's lazy parenting. These are skills of life skills, that stay with you all your life, And, like my children wouldn't even dream of dropping litter on the floor, the same as we weren't. And this is, children have got to be taught these things and rammed into them. You don't do this. You leave rubbish on the floor and it gets rats and it gets mice and all sorts. It's just not right. And this is, unfortunately, society today.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, Miriam, I'd love to be able to argue against that, but I couldn't agree with you more, though I really am. Sarah Jane, surprised that people think that young people don't care about the environment because they talk of nothing else, don't they?
Well, there'll be some that talk of nothing else, but unfortunately, I think it does lead to that. And I remember vividly when I was young, I had a cornetto and I was with my mum and I put the cornetto wrapper on the floor and I was in so much trouble and that stayed with me forever and I never ever littered ever again after that.
Tell me what trouble was like when you were a child.
Oh, my mum just had to raise her voice and that was it. Like, I didn't ever push it beyond that. I was a good girl, wasn't I, Sue?
Wouldn't mess with Dorothy. I know her mum.
Oh, you know her mum?
Yeah, because when she joined Huntley,
you were on
she was
Hollyoaks
14.
together.
So her mum was so I know
my
her mum
mum
well.
chaperoned me.
Chaperoned for years.
God.
And you wouldn't mess with Dorothy.
Tell me why you wouldn't mess with Dorothy.
Well, because she's a very good woman, but she would give you a proper ticking off.
Forthright.
Absolutely. I'm right though, aren't I?
Yeah, it's true.
She's not shy at coming forward, Dorothy.
So what we need is some parenting lessons, don't we?
Get Dottie involved.
That's what we could all do with that.
Definitely to deal with the litter bugs.
100%.